Let me immediately give the floor to the Minister for Social Cohesion and Family Affairs of Greece, Dόμna-Μαρία Μιχαηλίδου. Thank you very much for your political, institutional, and governmental commitment. You have been committed for quite some time also on the topic of training, education, and countering bullying. If I may, during your pregnancy, you, as a minister, you are also a symbol of your commitment, if I may. So thank you very much, and over to you, madam.
Yes, thank you very much. And it is true, it's an unfortunate truth, actually, because I was the first pregnant minister in my country, which is something that should have happened many, many years before my presence in my ministry. But unfortunately, it was the first, which I am hoping, and I'm sure that many of you share the same feeling, that it's going to be repeated very, very soon in my country and in other countries as well. So, distinguished colleagues, Minister Roccella, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to begin again by thanking you personally, Minister Roccella, for the invitation to address this high-level conference against femicide, a crime, as we've all agreed, that represents the most extreme manifestation of gender-based violence, together with, of course, a painful reminder of the basic inequalities that still persist in our societies. And let me acknowledge here at this point that it's actually very refreshing to have two men in this panel, because usually in all events and discussions that pertain women and even generally social affairs, we find ourselves, among ourselves, only women. So it is quite refreshing, and it's really refreshing to have a male journalist moderating it, because usually for us women, this is a role that we do get, that of the moderator. So thank you for this composition. This conference offers an important opportunity for really meaningful exchange of experiences, of good and, I would say, of bad practices, and of lessons learned, difficult lessons learned for the majority of times. By bringing together policymakers, experts, institutions, and civil society, we have the ability to reflect on what works, identify gaps, and draw inspiration from another for our constant efforts to move forward, to protect, to prevent. Greece stands firmly with all countries committed to eliminating violence against women and girls in all of its forms. This fight is not only a matter of criminal justice, as we have agreed, but as many of us believe, it is actually a test of our social conscience, our main institutions, and our collective commitment to uphold equality, dignity, and basic human rights. We have to begin with the conviction that femicide is preventable, but real and social prevention requires political will. We need to do what you said before, Minister, the fact that prevention is not a promise, but it's a reality. In recent years, the Greek society, like many across Europe, has been shaken by tragic cases of femicide, of course aggravated in the years after the COVID pandemic. Since 2015, 135 cases of femicide have been reported by the Greek police. To prevent and protect women, we have strengthened the national network of support structure for women. We now run 44 counseling centers, open counseling centers within the community all over Greece. They are run by three main providers, by the state itself through an institution of research provision. They're also run by municipalities, and they're also run by NGOs. We run 20 shelters among the country, and also, which is, we find it to be working really well, a national helpline, we call it an SOS helpline that works 24 hours, 7 days a week, that so far it has served the national helpline more than 600,000 women from 2011 that has started working. Our open day social support centers, together with our shelters, have so far, since 2011, helped 60,000 women. Our country has also aligned its framework with the Istanbul Convention. The Convention's principles guide our national strategy for prevention, protection, and persecution. We have strengthened the role of the Observatory for Gender Equality, operating robustly since 2011. And the observatory is responsible for collective administrative data on gender-based violence. Reliable data, we do believe, and I'm sure we all believe in this room, that it's the foundation of sound policymaking. And every year in Greece, we solidly publish Greece's annual report of gender-based violence. And this is for the last 15 years, so we do have a solid track record in this. Our ministry has equally assumed responsibility to complete the transposition of the EU Directive on Violence Against Women, the first EU legislation on preventing and combating violence against women and domestic violence. The directive strengthens the victims' rights by ensuring accessible reporting mechanisms, specialized support services, and effective access to justice, and obliges, this is very important, member states to develop coordinated prevention strategies. Practically, I want to emphasize on a prevention tool that we have made. It's practically an advanced early detection and intervention tool. It's a risk assessment tool. So basically, because in our ministry we do handle all social affairs, we do distribute benefits, we have a really good and solid track record of vulnerability. We do know who the vulnerable families are. Who are the families that have lower income? Who are the families that are single-headed? Who are the families that have many kids? Who are the families that most often need help? So by combining this information, we have built a risk assessment tool which is available to the police, to the health authorities, to social services, in order to red flag cases that might have increased vulnerability. At the same time, we have developed a digital panic button. So for victims of domestic abuse, reported victims of domestic abuse, more than 600 women nowadays have used this encrypted digital system, which practically reflects priority over overall police cases in order to have immediate reaction when someone who is flagged as more vulnerable, a woman who is flagged as more vulnerable to domestic violence, immediately sends an alert to the police. We call this the panic button, and we've seen immediate and large-scale response to this. We recognize, though, that legislation and enforcement alone, they cannot eradicate femicide. Prevention must begin, as we discussed, with education, and education among both sexes, awareness, and perhaps, and above all, cultural change. Greece is investing in school programs, kids from the age of nursery until the age of high school, so from the age of 5 until the age of basically 15, not in the 3 last years of high school. They need to have compulsory courses of empathy, of human rights, of understanding each other's rights. And this is 1 day a week that from the age of nursery up to the age of 15, it's a compulsory but a creative way in order to address this very much needed cultural change. Distinguished participants, femicide is not a crime against women only. It is a crime against our main values, like the respect for human dignity, equality, and even the principle of democracy we collectively defend. The road ahead is, unfortunately, uphill, but our determination is unwavering. Greece will continue to work tirelessly, nationally, within the EU and within the OSCE to ensure that every woman can live free from violence, free from fear, and free from discrimination. It is our shared duty as governments, as institutions, as societies, to ensure that lives of women are protected not in words, not in promises, but in practice, in daily life, in real life. Thank you very much.
Grazie, grazie Ministra.